They call him Spreadsheet Phil because Philip Hammond makes a virtue of being low-key. So when he went to Parliament to deliver his first big set piece as Chancellor, he was never going to promise big giveaways. And he couldn't, partly because he says leaving the EU will make us poorer.
Is that the referendum decision means that potential growth over the forecast period is likely to be 2.4 percentage points lower than would otherwise have been the case.
Forget the old target of balancing tax and spend by the next election. Instead, there'll be more borrowing, £122 billion more over 5 years than predicted in the budget in the spring. There were some measures to help the so-called jams, the just about managing. Fuel duty will be frozen again, saving the average car driver £130 a year. The national living wage for over 25s goes up to £7.50 an hour from April. And there's a slight reduction in the cuts to universal credit, with claimants now allowed to keep 37 pence in the pound instead of 35. And he promised to spend billions investing in infrastructure like housing, transport and broadband to try and fix Britain's long-term problem of low productivity.
It takes a German worker 4 days to produce what we make in 5. And that means, in turn, that too many British workers work longer hours for lower pay than their counterparts. And that has to change if we are to build an economy that works for everyone.
He mocked the current shadow Chancellor for wanting to spend even more money than his predecessor, Ed Balls.
What we don't know, of course, is whether he can also dance. I have received some... He can.
But when it was John McDonnell's turn, the joking was over.
John McDonnell!
The figures speak for themselves. Growth down. Wage growth down. Business investment down. And the deficit, and their own deficit target failed.
The Chancellor also announced he's abolishing the autumn statement and going back to just one big event, the budget, per year. Showtime is over. There's serious work to be done. Andy Bell, 5 News.